Hello everyone, Destiny here. Join us for our 10th The National Gospel Songwriter Conference. It's homecoming time, July 7th through the 10th. The host church is Tucker's Temple Church of God in Christ, 610 North 7th Street, Memphis, Tennessee. It's an event for the entire family. Yes, even something for my age. At the conference, we will learn songs from independent artists, handbells, sign language, and much, much more. Also, we will get the chance to perform. July 10th at 6 p.m. for our finale night, Children Expulsion. So come out to the 10th National Gospel Songwriters Conference, July 7th through 10th. See you there! Hello everyone, Justice here. Join us for our 10th The National Gospel Songwriter Conference. It's homecoming time, July 7th through the 10th. The host church is Tucker's Temple Church of God in Christ, 610 North 7th Street, Memphis, Tennessee. It's an event for the entire family. Yes, even something for teenagers. At the conference, we will learn the media side of running a service, how to conduct interviews, and work with the chief executive administrator. We will be recording the nightly services, interviewing the Jewels honorees, past and present, recording the awards program, and the finale night event. So join us for the 10th National Gospel Songwriters Conference, July 7th through the 10th. Can't wait to see you there!
Hello, my name is Davina Williams. I'm one of the many talented teachers and professors, a part of the new Children's Music and Leadership program at Cornerstone Christian University. This new Bachelor of Arts in Gospel Music is designed to equip students with a comprehensive understanding of gospel music, its history, performance techniques, and its culture, especially around children's ministry. The curriculum includes music theory, composition, performance, and studies in theological and social contents of children and the gospel. The program will provide students with a comprehensive education in music and children's ministry leadership while allowing for flexibility and pacing. Each level is built upon the previous one, and it integrates practical experiences in a capstone project that ensures graduates are well prepared for careers in ministry, music education, child advocacy, and community leadership. Classes range from handbells, sign language and movement, conducting, children's drama, early childhood music principles, and music lessons, to name a few. So if you love the Lord, you love working with children, you are creative, talented, and have a passion to teach, this is the degree and program for you. Hope to see your name on the road. God bless.
Welcome to Readings with Evangelist Linda Coleman. Let's allow her to take us on a spiritual journey with these amazing books that she has found. So take a deep breath, grab a healthy snack, and let's relax and listen in.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Good Reads with Evangelist Linda Coleman. And as I always tell you, I'm only one of your favorite evangelists. The Lord has so many of us out there working in the vineyard. I hope you're having a great day today. I've got a love story for you this time. In case you haven't found your love yet, don't give up on the Father. Now, you don't have to go looking for it, okay? Don't do that, because it's going to come to you. You know what the word says: when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, right? When he finds her. So, ladies, you don't have to go looking for him. You just continue to soak yourself in the presence of the Lord, learn his word, walk his word, let it shine through you. And I promise you, the one that God has for you will show up. Mine hasn't shown up yet. I'm really not looking for mine. I'm kind of comfortable just the way I am. But if God sent one, I can't argue with what God has for me. But today's book, An Amusing Life, all in a day. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. From our sister in Christ, Sister Louise, Dr. Louise Smith. You're going to enjoy this love story. And I really want you to really focus as I try my best to read it to you, because she is very detailed. I mean, you have to use your imagination when you're reading it. I want you to be able to see what she's describing to you. I mean, she's not missing much when she's telling you what the scenario is and what's going on around her at the time that everything is happening. So don't think you're going to be left in the dark. It's not going to be a quickie and move on and like that. No, the sister is very, very detailing. And I love the fact that no matter what age you are, when God has something for you, you will receive it. And y'all know when we get it from the Lord, it's a good thing, right? Yes, it is. Let me tell you about this book. It says the story of Linton and Louise follows two people whose lives, influenced by childhood great experiences and adult difficulties and woes, intersecting in a meaningful way. Their bond goes beyond the ordinary, creating a space where time appears to slow and days merge while maintaining a comforting familiarity. Well, the foundation of this life is love, a powerful force that provides peace, joy, comfort, and enables a complete surrender of giving of each other to each other, a complete surrender of giving of each other to each other. That don't happen all the time. You don't always get that in a relationship. But Sister Dr. Smith, she can say she's getting it. And if she can get it, we can get it too. Together, they face life challenges, including togetherness, independence, heartache, heartbreak, business, and pleasure. But through it all, they bring out the best in each other. Hello. Who wouldn't want that in their life? Through it all, they bring out the best of each other. I mean, man, come on, baby, give me something like that. Something that's going to bring out more than what God has already given me and the other stuff that he has deep down inside of me that I haven't found. And then my partner can find it and bring it out of me. And then I can find it in him and bring it out of him. Oh, Lord Jesus, that is a good thing. So combining their strength to create a life worth living, defined by selfless devotion and a bond that can last until the end. That's what you call some loving, baby. That's some good loving. And that's a good introduction to this book. Y'all know how it is when we're out searching around for books. We always read the back or the inside, the kind of say, well, do I really want to read this book? Well, after reading this little intro that they have on the back, I think that would kind of get you interested in reading Dr. Smith's book. You can get it at Amazon. Yes, you can. You know, Amazon has everybody. Yeah, baby, go over there and get this one on your shelf too. You know, I'm always telling you, do not just depend upon me reading it. Read it for yourself, and you want it on your shelf so that anytime you want to go back and read it again, you can do just that. And we might find some experiences in here with Dr. Smith that you might want to share, not just for yourself, maybe with your daughter or your granddaughter, or your grandson, or your son, or your niece, or your nephew. Some of her experiences might be encouraging to somebody that really needs it, and tell them, do not give up. Let's go to this introduction. Let's see what Dr. Smith is talking about. And like I said, you got to be aware that it's going to be very illustrative. So use your imagination. See what she is telling us in your mind as I read to you. Okay? It was Saturday, September the 2nd, 2019, the second day of our calm but blissful delight after celebrating 14 years of being married. Another year. Oh, go ahead, girl. We were two grateful souls basking in our moment of reflections and emotion. Oh, I'm of actual night that Linda and I met at 9:30 p.m. at the Sentinel of Hope Christian Ministries, a church organized through the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World to get married. Now, that was a lot of information, huh? Okay, well, that's where they met. He says, Linton and I met at 9:30 p.m. at the Sentinel of Hope Christian Ministries, a church organized through the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World to get married. That was a lot of information, but that's what I'm telling you about. This book will give you more than what you need to go along with her and see exactly what's going on. So you shouldn't have any doubt or any questions in the back of your mind. She said this was the church that Linton attended. The ground was almost bare and lifeless, except for the 6 cars on the lot, including Linton's and mine's. My second-born king, Kalisa, was unable to attend, but his wife, Larissa, and their 12-month-old baby boy, who was the youngest to attend, was there. He was dressed in his little green short sets and Air Jordan sneakers. What I tell you about the information, huh? So y'all see him in his little green sneakers? Little short set and his Air Jordan sneakers. Come on, girl. Well, my firstborn king, Maurice, was the videographer who captured some of the footage of the nuptials. You know when we saying, this day I take you in my hand, and I love you for who you are, and I will do it. All that promise that we do, right? Naturals. But a pastor and his wife and 2 members of his congregation was also there to witness this new beginning. Kendall, the third-born king, proudly walked his mother down the aisles to her forever mate. Are you with me? You can see this, right? Come on. Well, from 1999 to 2006, I was part of a church in the city, a full gospel, charismatic independent church whose pastor had strong charisma. Okay, here go with the description. You ain't gonna miss it. His skin was smooth and dark. It was debonair and easy on the eyes. Wow, with a $1 million smile. And he could sing you into a fit. He was as handsome as he could be. However, he did have a dark side. He was selfish, self-absorbed, controlling, manipulative, and known for his pulpit bashing. For about 18 of the 24 months of Mr. Smith's and my courtship, this overly protective preacher continually and strongly advised against me not to be married. Because in his own estimation, he was not good enough for me, which made him not the one for me. Okay, so this is the pastor of the church that she's going to, saying that she don't need to be married to Mr. Smith. He might have been good looking into the eyes and pleasing to the eyes and all that stuff and sing you to heaven, but he sure was selfish and controlling. What your pastor got to do with who you marry? That's just my opinion. Okay. All right. Well, going against the grain was not something I would normally do, but in this case, I was found guilty. I'm with you, girl. If you was happy with him, that's all that counts. Okay. where there was no proof of these made-up prophecies from the overseer of this full gospel standalone ministry. Would God reveal himself to another person without speaking his truth to the person in whom the warning was meant for? Do you think God would kind of give you a hint of what was going on? Or what was not good for you, especially when you have a relationship with God, Lord. You ladies, y'all know when we know the Lord and we know his voice and we study his word, he has a great way of letting us know as well. And not just always through somebody's prophetic prophecy, but you've already got signals along your own way. One thing is clear. We are all God's creation. That's right, sister. Not the pastor's. Girl, I'm proud of you. Yeah, Stephanie. Since I'm standing up for what I feel God has given me. It is my belief that his parishioners were more afraid of him than they were revered or respected him. And if you scared of your pastor, something ain't right with that. You ain't supposed to be scared of your pastor. Come on. When he discovered my awakening, he showed distant toward me. He and his wife found opportunities to belittle and embarrass me. In this pastor's mind, I was in direct insubordination because she was dating somebody else. Now, I don't want to get into that too much, but man, that's just too controlling. In my opinion, a man's insecurities led to control. That, to me, is a recipe for enslavement. That is a dangerous place. The violation of going against this so-called sacred man's words put me on the other side of love. Baby, something ain't right in Denver. He commanded his congregation. No, he didn't. Oh, come on, y'all. This introduction got after reading this, you got to go into the book, right? After reading the back, that should have stirred you up the curiosity enough to want to read it. And then when you get to this introduction, this will make you want to read some more of what's going on. Okay? He commanded, hallelujah, Jesus, commanded, not just suggested us, acted like. He commanded his congregation not to participate in anything I had going on. And guess what, y'all? And they did not. I was stained and redeemed and deemed a troublemaker because of what love did to Mr. Smith and what love did to me. It was undeniable. We persevered. I thought I had favor with the preacher because I took ministry and my job as sacred. And I know what you mean, Dr. Smith. Yeah, I love my job too. At the church when I was working there all the time, I love my job that I'm doing with the church now, And then all of a sudden for the church to turn on me because I've fallen in love with someone, and if it's not the right one, baby, you would know. God gonna tell you. But the church shouldn't turn against you. When I asked him to counsel and marry us, he replied with a voice of protest. I'll marry you. Y'all not going to like this next line. You're not going to like it. If you don't want to hear it, close your ears. But the preacher's response was, I'll marry you, but guess what? You won't be happy. I'll marry you, but you ain't going to be happy? Hello? What? She got that in big bold letters, y'all. Just a word by itself. What? Are you serious? That was some kind of response. I had never been met with such hostile words and attitude. He had me in that vicious cycle. I put Mr. Smith through 6 marital rejections, all because of manipulations. I was bamboozled. If it had not been for a young woman in that same ministry who told me to follow my heart and not to let a man with biceps and triceps in his bed tell me what not to have or enjoy, I was disillusioned, stunned, and hurt, but eventually I stopped falling for the okie dokie. Let's go back and see what that lady said again, y'all. She said, a young woman in that ministry told me to follow my heart and not to let a man with biceps and triceps in his bed tell me what not to have or enjoy. Now, I don't know where the bed part come from, but it's there. I was disillusioned, stunned, and hurt, but eventually I stopped falling for the okie dokie. By choice, my choice to be sought, chosen, pursued, and captured was the most amazing thing. Mr. Smith and I went beyond the threshold to receive a royal and choice blessing from the Lord. So, on the seventh round, we took our sacred and eternal vows Thursday, September the 1st, 2005, at 10 o'clock p.m. Yes, he chose me and I chose him back. Congratulations on that time. It was about 14 years, she says. Yeah, 14 years, and then it was about to make another year. 15 years she's been together. But the preacher man said that she wasn't going to be happy. Yeah, I'll marry you, but you're not going to be happy. Sister Dr. Smith, please forgive me if I keep saying sister, but Dr. Smith, I'm proud of you for standing up for what God had given you. You knew it was love, and I don't understand why any minister would be against any marriage. Even if he didn't think it was the right choice, it has to be your choice. And that goes for all of us, ladies. It has to be our choice. We have to learn our lesson. And as a good pastor, a good minister, if he feels like something is not quite right, he's entitled to his opinion, of course, but he's the pastor. So why not pray for me? If I'm making a bad decision, and say, well, baby, I'm just giving you my opinion, and I pray that you be happy. So I'll keep you in my prayers all the time. And if you ever need me, my door is open to you. My phone is here. Give us a call. My wife and I will be there right by your side to help you through whatever you may be going through. Marriages by itself is hard enough as it is, ladies and gentlemen. We don't need to not start off before we get into it like that with somebody that we trust and that we have respect for because they're the pastor of the church. You kind of want to value his opinion of what's going on, but to tell me I'm not going to be happy, I don't know. Let's go to chapter 1. Maybe we can find out what happened and why is she so in love with Mr. Smith, y'all. This is the first day they met. Chapter 1, okay? She's let me get a little water. Because I don't want to miss this. And I don't want to mislead you. So put your ears on. We already got a little idea of what's going on, right? So let's find out how all this strong love, this loving love, this peace that she describes in the back of her book. She said, together they face life challenges, including togetherness, independence, heartache, heartbreak, business, and pleasure. So let's see how this started off. Because you might be in the same situation right now and don't even know that that's where you're at. All right, Dr. Smith. It was Thursday, June 26, 2003. I did my usual preparation with my youngest son for daycare, then slipped back to bed for a quick snooze before the third alarm went off. Third alarm. Y'all know what that is. Okay. Well, her third alarm might be get up, wake up, go get the baby ready, and then there's another alarm before she actually get up, and then the third one is when she's finished with the baby and got him ready for daycare, and she could lay down again for a little while before the third alarm goes off. She said, I was settled in just the right spot of my floral, here we go, Egyptian sheets, and the 3 fluffy pillows for my head and body when the phone rang. I didn't want to disturb my good sleeping spot because I wouldn't have enough time to get back to perfection of that level of comfort again, at least not before going to the shower. You got it? She's in bed on her Egyptian sheets with them three pillows. Y'all know what we do, okay? Then I thought I would ignore the ring. The answering machine would get it for me. It's probably just a bill collector. Don't we say that? I said a lot. Okay. The phone was silenced by the click of the answering machine screening my call. Well, the click was an obvious hang up by the caller on the other end. But to my surprise, the phone rang again with an unwelcoming tone of my voice. I grunted and surrendered the notion of that second quick nap. It's not going to happen. I answered the phone with good morning, James residence. Okay, hello. You have already disturbed my sleep. Well, on the other end of the phone, though, was a soft spoken male voice. He replied, hello, my name is Linton Smith, and I'm looking for Louise James, a gentleman who is a nurse here at the Monteith Army Health Clinic gave me your name. I was talking to him, and he told me that you were in music and were in the South Carolina Arts Commission. Well, I am a new inductee, and I'm looking to advance my music career. And he told me you are just the person I needed to speak to. Well, she says, when I heard the name Monteith, only one person came to mind, my former husband. I called him my was-been, but I don't use the term ex because he will always be a part of my family, and I can relate to that because of their three sons. This soft-spoken, gentle voice said, he said his name is Carl and that you have a nickname for him. I laughed so hard because he is still my PR person, even after several years of divorce. She said, I am fully awake by this time, though, even though the conversation didn't last more than 5 minutes. I invited him to the meeting. It had to be after my day job and evening rehearsal. I earned a very handsome wage for being in administration, and the music minister for the church. Well, the work week was a routine of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., except for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday, which ran slightly longer because of the Bible studies and the rehearsals. I would normally get home on those evenings between 7 and 7:45. And since he asked for an audience with me, I invited him to come around 8:30. He agreed upon the time, so I got out of the rehearsal around 7:15 and headed home in my vehicle, Beulah. That's what she calls her vehicle. Okay, so I told you you're going to get a whole lot of details. You can really see all this, okay? Okay, the distance from church to home was only about 12 minutes, and it gave, give or take, you know how it is. Mine is 15, 12, 20 minutes according to the traffic. And she says, depending on the flow of the traffic. Well, I rushed home, greeted my son, and let him know that we were going to have guests over. So I needed him to be on the lookout. So Kendall complied while I went to wash the work day off me and shampoo my hair. The appointment was set for 8:30, but because Mr. Smith was a punctual Marine, he was 30 minutes early. I saw him exiting his car while fumbling in the back seat of his blue Oldsmobile, which oddly he named Herman. That was the first commonality. What are the chances of two people from different locations meeting and announcing their cars as if they were a close pet or favorite relatives? Well, I'm sorry, Dr. Smith, that's not unusual. a lot of people call their cars names, even in different states and different worlds. Here around here, my daughter called hers. I forgot what name she got from. I got a little red outside, and all most people have a car name for the car, so that wasn't unusual. Okay, baby. All right, Mr. Smith rang the doorbell. The king answered and welcomed him in to sit. Kendall sat right close beside him, as if he were guarding him. All were the one that was on the date. Well, my hair was wrapped in terry, and I was in my favorite blue terry bathrobe. In other words, I was not dressed to meet Mr. Smith. I peeped my head out of the bedroom door, apologizing, and asked for just a few more minutes to establish myself. He ever so gently spoke with a reassuring tone that he was just fine. Okay. KJ was keeping him well entertained with his plans and drawings. Well, finally, I met him face to face. I'm thinking to myself, this guy must be gravely ill, sold out to God, fasting and praying all the time, or he's a starving musician. He looked undernourished, but very neat. Undernourished, but very neat. Undernourished, but very neat. So by him looking undernourished, that's why she thought he was on a fast and stuff. And you can tell people who've been on fasts all the time, they really do look a little bit undernourished. But she said he must have been a starving musician or something, maybe. Well, I remember he wore black pants with a dark gray tricolor pullover shirt. When I entered the room, fully clothed with hair dressed, he rested to his feet to honor me and the moment. Go ahead on, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith and KJ sat adjacent to me in the living room of my Veteran Street home. I told you, you're going to get a whole lot of details in. Now you know where she's at, okay? I asked him a little about himself, and he told me about his family, his occupation, his military career, his ministry, and the little he knew of his induction to the South Carolina Arts Commission. He then told me a little about me. Well, I then told him a little about me, my upbringing, the reason for the migration to South Carolina, my 3 children, and church. He asked if there was anything he needed to know about the commission and if I could get some local jobs. Well, one piece of advice I offered was to continue to perfect his craft. Be prepared for the job because they would surely come. That was some very good advice. I got to intercede right here. Don't wait till the door opens to get ready, y'all. You need to be ready when the door opens. That's why we study in school. That's why we try our best to do the best we can. That's why those of us who study music, you have to practice. You can't practice when the door opens and think you're going to walk in. You're not ready, okay? So be ready, she said. I began telling him about my experiences with the Art Commission, the many jobs I got, the many arts in residence I did all over the state, and for many years until my youngest son became gravely ill. Linda said, I'm a musician, but maybe not the kind you would expect. I'm a trumpet player. He then wanted to audition for me. I thought to myself, this guy wants to audition for me? Little old me? I'm no official head of anything except my household and son, but the music ministry at my church. But hey, have it at that. Let's go. He wanted to be excused to go to his car for his instrument and sound system. Well, I accompanied him as far as the front porch, strictly as a courtesy. I did notice his boy's sound system. I told you you're going to get a lot of details. This girl don't just say his sound system. This young lady is saying his boy's sound system. I don't know if I was offended, she said, or insulted that he didn't think my system was good enough. Well, I quickly responded, excuse me, we have an exceptionally good sound system inside. You don't have to bring yours. Hello, Bose. He said that he preferred playing from his system, and I insisted he use mine. Go on, Dr. Smith. That's right. Let him know, boys or no boys, you had a good sound system. Well, he withdrew the notion, and he came back inside with just his horn case. One could tell it was the companion of someone for many years. It was a faded and scarred, well-handled blue case with a very bruised, faded gold-toned trumpet inside. He took out a compact disc and asked me to play track 11, I Love the Lord. When he put his mouth to the horn and blew, oh, heaven hushed while an angelic sound came from the instrument. Girl, that got to be good when he put his lips on the horn. Hallelujah. Heaven hushed. Wow. An angelic sound came from the boy when he put his lips on the horn. I like that part. I like the way she described it. You can tell she's still very much in love with her husband because she's saying when he put his lips to the horn, the heavens hushed. Oh, hallelujah. She said, I was suspended in gravity, frozen in time. I was melting into a sea of melodic tones. I had never been up close to that kind of control and elegance which came as his lips married his horn. Oh, your description, Dr. Smith, is so beautiful. I told you, you're going to get some detail here, y'all. This book going to be good. I can tell you already, this book going to be good. I'm going to try to finish this first chapter because the time is running out, but it was a perfect match, a defined, mature sound. I was impressed and moved by his giftedness, so much so that I took him to my music room, the computer room, the den to play a song for him. Well, the evening seemed to pause while two people starved for conversation and companionship got permission from time to explore one another's life. Go, girl! Well, that Thursday evening after the music had ceased, we turned up the volume on our conversation. There were so many oohs and ahs between us. We discovered lots of similarities as we shared. It definitely felt real. When I gazed at the clock in the music room and discovered, y'all guess what time it is? It's 3:00 in the morning. This is the first day. 3:00 in the morning. She said, I stood up inconspicuously to move us to the exit toward his vehicle. I followed him to his car, Herman, you know. We were still small talking when he asked me, who cuts your lawn? Oh, I proudly answered, my son keeps my yard. He continued, well, it doesn't look like they've cut it in a while. Then he let me know that yard maintenance was his sidekick, okay? I could come tomorrow and cut your grass. I curiously asked, well, how much would you charge me? To cut the back and the front. I need to know what you're just coming over here cutting on stuff. I need to know how much it's going to cost. Well, for several moments, in the 3:30 a.m. hour, he surveyed the ground and said, I can do your yard for $35. Well, I was disturbed by that number because I had a big front and backyard, and that $35 must be for the front yard alone. So here I go. How about I pay you $50 and cook you, go girl, a real meal? What do you like to eat? That was a sellout, girlfriend. But that's cute. I like the way you did that, Dr. Smith. He says, I like fish and okra. Well, this is no issue for me. I love cooking, I replied. Then there was a quiet and weird moment. Unexpectedly, I went out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, I reached up to a low hanging limb. Oh, okay. I like this part because I read it already, right? Then there was a quiet and weird moment. Unexpectedly, out of nowhere, I reached up for a low hanging limb where we were standing and pulled down a handful of leaves. Check this out, you ladies. Then I threw the leaves like confetti onto Mr. Smith. I mean, she actually reached up in the tree, pulled the leaves, and threw them at Mr. Smith out of nowhere, right? Out of nowhere. She said, wow. Startled and in shock, he said, wow. Wow, hello. Now that was some kind of difference. No one had ever thrown leaves at him before. Oh, none of us really had nobody throw leaves at us, okay? He let out a nervous chuckle, and he and I were both in shock and in utter disbelief. What was I thinking? Well, spontaneously has its place. But this made me look like a whole complete creep nutcase out of it. This girl got problems, okay? Well, the startling moment was quiet and awkward. Anybody though that who knows me knows I love confetti. But of course, he didn't have that information. He didn't know that about her yet. However, it was just something about this soundless instant in the night sky that felt like a confetti moment. It was almost as if I was breaking up the monotonous sounds of steel and exchanging it for something unforgettable. Instead, it seemed like I was marking my territory. Hello, in a way, but you did break it, and that's something he will definitely never forget. First time I met my wife, she threw leaves at me like it was confetti, because she likes confetti. Well, Mr. Smith saluted me with his soft-spoken voice. Have a good night. Well, what's left of it. He walked over to his trusty car, got into it, and drove off before the sunrise moved in position. Well, bright and early Friday morning, I was awakened by the sound of an imitation Saturday morning yard ritual. As I lifted up the window shades, it became clearer what was happening. There was this bony man in my yard pushing a lawnmower in high gear at the speed of a 20-year-old. I had not considered that he would be back at 7 o'clock in the morning. He had just left a few hours before. Well, at that moment, he was showing me his work ethics and the covenant between what he says and what he does. I was touched and impressed. Oh, yes, I know you was. I must admit, I was a little bothered because who cuts grass on a Friday morning before 8 o'clock a.m.? Hello, Dr. Smith, people who cut grass. Okay, gardeners get up early start. Okay? Well, nevertheless, I trusted the moment. I felt special and cared for, but I didn't want to appear desperate. I know that's right, girl. You don't want to appear desperate. Well, this was new, uncharted waters for me, and I needed to be cautious, even apprehensive. However, one thing was certain: the noise coming from the other side of my wall was real and true. My early summer nap was greatly hindered, so I got up to start my day. When people are cutting grass in your yard, you can't help but get up. There's no way you're going to go back to sleep. She said, I worked in administration at the church I played for. I was also the music teacher for their child development center. I got ready for work. The time was around 9:30 a.m. and Mr. Smith was still working in the yard. I spoke to him on my way to my car. At 2 p.m., I began my afternoon commute. Travel was easy. As I turned onto Veterans Road, I caught a glimpse of my yard. Driving up closely or slowly, I could see that Mr. Smith did more to my ground than just mow the grass. All right. When I say well manicured, baby, he did that. Girlfriend said it was well manicured. He did that. I ain't mad at you, girl. He's showing you who he is. Yes, he is. Mr. Smith returned to the house around 5:30 p.m. I was elated to tell him how impressed I was with his yard maintenance skill. The work was done so well that I gave him a raise of $75. The meal he suggested was about to be placed on the table. Kay and I, along with Mrs. Smith, gathered for good conversation and good food. However, I noticed his fork glided over the okra and picked at the fish. I said to myself, no wonder this man is so skinny. He doesn't eat. I was not happy about his plate and how he messed over my food. Well, in the small talk at the table, he still targeted his conversation around his desire to be a working musician. He was in high hopes that I could get him a job or two. Well, I invited him to a praise and worship symposium planned for the next morning. This would be the third day of being in each other's company. Well, since we were both musicians and we're almost to the end, so don't leave me now, okay? You don't want to miss this first portion, all right? Because you need it all. Because I'm telling you, the rest of this book gonna be good. All right. Since we were both musicians, I suggested that we play this song. Something about the name Jesus, huh? Y'all all like that. We know I love it, okay? At the symposium, when I tell you it was a hot mess, though, you best believe it was a real hot mess. It was 50 times worse than you could ever imagine. However, we made through it. Of course, people were so kind to say we sounded good. But the truth of the matter was, to ourselves, we sounded like two individual artists in a fight for any spot on the stage. Afterwards, we went to lunch at a local deli. The group I sang with at the time, Weapons of Recognition, were egging and prodding me with, who's the guy, Weezy? Ricky, the leader of the group, was really involved with the questions, not just with me, but with Mr. Smith as well. He was, Brother Ricky want to know what's going on, where you come from. I don't know how I felt about the whole interrogation process, but Mr. Smith didn't mind. He stayed quite a while at the deli, reminiscing old stories and developing new ones. We stayed. She said we didn't let them stop us fellowshipping with one another. Well, the next day was Sunday, and I woke up feeling like a junior high school girl who had just discovered her first crush. Y'all remember how that feel, how that is? I can kind of remember it. It's been that long, but we remember it. Well, Kay and I went to the church where I was serving as head musician. We went through the worship and enjoyed with great delight how the congregation responded to the musical portion of the service. And after the service, we headed home. Approaching our home, though, we saw a blue car parked under the tree. Kay said, "Look, Mom, it's our friend." I pulled into the driveway, and Mr. Smith got out of his vehicle and proceeded in my direction. We were still seated in the car. Check this out. Y'all gonna like this too. He greeted us with a blushing smile and said, "Hello, how y'all doing? I was just checking in. Do you mind if I open your door to the house to make sure all is well?" Hello? You want to check my house out before I go there to make sure all is well? That was unquestionable and eerie inquiry. I thought he seemed nice, but really, what's the angle? Well, what he's trying to show me, why would he ask me that question? It's not like we know each other like that. I was flattered, but I was cautious. He asked for my keys, and I nervously gave them to him. He came back outside in under a minute with a good report that all was well inside my house. And of course, of which I would expect nothing different, right? He handed me my keys, and Kay and I sat in the car. He pulled the handle and watched me get out of the vehicle. I suggested, though, since he was already where he was, why not stay for dinner? Right away, not pausing, he accepted our invitation. He stood in the doorway of the kitchen, posed like a number 4, talking and checking out my kitchen routines, patterns, and habits. He noticed sometime later he doesn't just eat from anybody's table, especially if he doesn't know that person. So I judge if their house looks a certain way, if they have pets, and if those pets distract them as they mingle with their animals while cooking and not washing their hands. And I'm with you, brother. I understand that, Mr. Smith. She says, well, I kept a pretty decent house and I don't have any pets, not even goldfish. So I guess I passed the test. Y'all gonna have to get this one. You're gonna have to get this one for yourself again. I'm telling you, boy. Dr. Louise Smith is describing some great stuff. Thank you for the details. We can see everything. That makes it like looking at a movie. So we're not just using our own imagination. We can hear and see what you're talking about, Egyptian sheets and everything, Veterans Boulevard and all that stuff. Thank you, honey. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Oh, well, I can't wait till the next chapter come up. A shoe conversation. Mm-hmm. A shoe conversation. Now that we women really like to talk about, huh? Okay, listen, I gotta go. It's been a good one. Please get Dr. Louise Smith book so you can follow me as we read her story about an amazing life all in a day. You've already heard what the previous pastor thought about her and her fellowship with him. But now we're getting into why she is so in love with Mr. Smith. And with a soft spoken voice, that's the beginning. Then he cuts the grass for me. And he don't just cut the grass, he just manicures my yard. Oh, hallelujah. That just looks so good when I drive up to that. Go on, Dr. Smith. Listen, I got to go, y'all. But you know what I always tell you, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the enemy has told you, no matter what message he sent your way, as a child of the King, we already know the enemy don't do nothing but lie and tell half truths. So when he does that, hold your head up high, stick your chest up. Oh yes, sharpen up your sword, shine your shield, knock the dust off your feet, charge the air. Let the enemy know, no matter what, I know all is well. Y'all have a great day. God bless you all.
I celebrate the Most High God. I had to find him for myself. But it's evident everything you see is about God. Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah Sidkenu is always there. And I can only say that he's real.
Wow, I do hope you enjoyed today's readings. But until next time, I want you to focus and remember God is still in control. Be blessed. Have a great day.